Hi again, everybody. Welcome back to another New Jersey Titans Coach's Corner. I have with me the coach, Craig Doremus. Craig, thanks so much for taking the time today.
Thanks for having me, Tom.
Only one game this past weekend. It was a 3-2 shootout loss against Johnstown. We'll kind of go chronologically in that game. The first period, outshot 12-5. In spite of playing third game in 3 days, they had more of a jump. Are you a little concerned about the start that you had in that contest?
To say that we're concerned is probably putting it lightly. It's something that we acknowledged going into the week, and then obviously pregame. So disappointed for sure in that terms. I think credit to them for sure for having that jump and having the energy level that they did. But really more disappointed in us that we weren't chomping at the bit to get on the ice and get after them and have a response after a lackluster performance the weekend before and a spirited practice week of. So definitely disappointed.
Well, rest of regulation, massive improvement, outplaying the Tomahawks for significant portions of the second and third. What, if anything, was said during that first intermission?
I just think we didn't want to hit the panic button, right? Obviously, we were facing some adversity at that point and going through it. And with so many younger guys there, I think you got to be careful about how you address it and what the message and tone is going into it because, at that age and that experience level, maturity level, I just don't know how well they respond to additional negativity. So I thought we did a good job in terms of just settling it and making sure that we put our best foot forward in the second period. And I thought we did that. I thought as the game went on, we did improve. We started to execute a little bit more of what we wanted game plan wise and saw some of the benefits of it. But still some breakdowns and some errors that came back to bite us in the butt at the end. So, better, but not where we want to be.
Back and forth overtime, both teams getting chances before it went to the shootout. So we'll recap. Jake LaRusso scored both goals. Burt Berkelev, 40 saves, his second straight strong effort. A moral victory after the slow start, but I'm sure you, the entire team, are really sick and tired of that term, moral victory.
Yeah, we are. And unfortunately, quite a few of them have been tied to that shootout / overtime, extra time period. A lot of times that's where we've gone into it saying you get the 1 point and, like you said, the quote-unquote moral victory and but we're at the point right now, and I know it's still early in the year, but we've had enough of those for a full season at this point. We got to start stacking some wins here and beating quality opponents. So for us, it's still a block that we have to get over, and it's not just a 1 game or 2 game thing. It's something we want to consistently be doing. So you got to start somewhere, and obviously got another opportunity coming up this weekend.
Well, we'll move on to some good news. A couple of commitments this week. Tyler Nasca committed to Mercyhurst and Erie. Levente Keresztes, he's committed to Long Island University. Tyler's in his second season with the Titans. What can you tell me about his path with New Jersey?
I think Tyler came in to our camp 2 years ago, like you had mentioned, and he was impressive from day one. Obviously, his skating ability, it's a God-given talent. It's impressive to watch. It's nice to watch him go point A to point B. It's so quick and so dynamic. He's very good on his edges. And I think his game's matured and evolved here over the past 15 months or so. I think he's learned to play the defensive side of the game better in terms of his stick positioning and touches and habits. And obviously offensively, we're just trying to guide him on how to use his skating ability to contribute offensively and get more out of his game. And Tyler's been a willing student. He does a lot of video here with Bobby and Kyle and in terms of trying to improve his game every day and each weekend. I think it's been there. I think, at times, does he get himself in trouble trying to do too much? Yeah, I think you could probably say that about a lot of young defensemen right now. But I'm really happy with his progress so far. And obviously, anytime you get to be part of that process with a player and his family and see them get a full college scholarship, it's special. It's a life-changing commitment. And, couldn't be more proud of him and his family. And I know there's a lot of hard work that put into it to get him to this point in terms of parent sacrifices and financial sacrifices. And even all the players, I think sometimes we all forget that they leave home and move away from their folks to allow this mechanism to happen. So really happy for Tyler and proud of him and excited for him and his family.
Well, and now I know Levente hasn't been with the team all that long, but he certainly made his mark early, averaging almost a point a game in 7 contests. What can you tell me about his game and how he kind of find himself getting noticed by Long Island?
Yeah, it's something that we had spoke to since the inception of their program, really. That staff had been on Levy since last year, and they identified him, and I think they were curious to see what his next stop was going to be in junior hockey and kind of the route that he was going to take and see what the growth process was. So they were on him, and obviously so were we. And, we identified him last year as a kid that we thought could be a really big part of our team. And we went through that process in the summer, and obviously he started in the USHL and ended up here for one reason or another. But I think he's made a really good impact here. He's a coachable young man. I think he wants to be the best version of himself in terms of improving at the junior level, the collegiate level, and obviously the professional level. Very goal driven. And like I mentioned in the press release, you know, these kids who come into the United States of America and leave their families, you know, and travel overseas thousands of miles, to see them make those sacrifices that a lot of, you know, of their peers can't even imagine making if they play a different sport, football, basketball, or such. To see that come to fruition and achieve his dreams is just special, and probably a little bit more special when it's a kid from overseas, just because you know the risk they've taken inherently by leaving their folks and their native country. So a great experience, and really happy for Levy and excited for him both now, and I think the future for him is extremely high. You know, just when you look at his ceiling, his frame alone, the ceiling's so high, probably at the pro level as well.
Well, moving forward this weekend, a 2-game set down in Maryland against the first place Black Bears. Of the 7 games scheduled for this month, only 1 will be in Middletown. It's usually said that long road stretches are really great opportunities for the guys to bond and get closer. You kind of feel that's true? And is that something you really like to embrace?
Yeah, traditionally, it's something that we've always tried to actually schedule early in the season. Go through the adversity, be on the road, have the guys together. You know, not to sound like a recycled version of anything I've said before, but this year is just so different in terms of what the guys can do when you're on a road trip. You know, when you're not playing hockey, you guys can't go bowling and go to the movies and go watch the Devils game or something like that. Mm-hmm. So the team bonding and some of that chemistry stuff, I definitely think has taken a hit back. And I, you know, for our team, we've turned over quite a few players as well. So I'm sure that doesn't help. And something that we're going to try to focus on here and make sure that stuff comes together, because it's an important part of it. It's an important part of winning and the experience. And I think you have to learn to really care and love one another if you're going to do special sacrifices for each other on the ice. And I think that's what winning cultures are made of. So, you know, we're looking forward to that. Absolutely. I just think for us, we'll play here, we'll play there. We would probably play in the Hudson River if we had to. I just think we want to keep playing hockey and keep the guys growing and developing. And honestly, I think it's important for them, for their mental health, just to have those goals at the end of the week of getting to, you know, lace up and play and compete against some of their peers.
So far this season, the Black Bears, the team we've seen the most, you've had some success going 2-1-1, including a 2-game sweep a couple of weeks ago. You kind of feel that those past results really make you a little bit more of a confident bunch going into the weekend?
I would hope so. But I think that only takes you so far. At the end of the day, the puck's going to drop Friday night, and we're going to have to earn it, and we're going to have to execute and make less errors than they do. You know, and there's so much that goes into it. I think anytime you go into it, knowing that you have beat or can beat an opponent, it only helps you. But I don't think there's an edge here either way. Every game's been pretty tight. Probably the margin of difference is very, very minimal between the two clubs. And they've made some changes and improvements to their roster, as have we. And I'm sure both clubs are itching to go out there and show off some of their new toys and compete against each other.
Now, I'm going to ask you to take off your head coach hat and put on your GM hat. There's been some changes as far as the schedule has been concerned all season long. How much of it as a challenge has it been to just kind of wade through those waters? I know for myself, doing gigs here with the Titans and with other teams, just trying to figure out how I'm going to get to each one and what time. I'm sure the same goes for you and the entire Titans organization.
Yeah, I think I've explained to my team. I think the only reason it works here is because I've said it, and you know, I know I'm biased, so probably a lot of people disagree with me, but I have the 2 best assistant coaches in the league. In junior hockey, they work hard. They prepare our team. They handle so much of the on-ice product while I'm distracted and trying to worry about some other things here. And I put a lot on their table. I trust them explicitly, and I know that our hockey team is going to be prepared to go each and every day because of them. And they've had to take on so much more this year just because I try to make sure that I take away that other part of the business and the strategy and the logistics so that they could focus simply on the hockey team and improving it and making sure we're ready and prepared to go. And they've done a great job this year. I know they've taken on a greater load. I know I've been, like you said, I'm involved with scheduling and logistics and league calls and figuring out X, Y, and Z a lot. And I try to separate them from that and let them just focus on our hockey team. They've done a great job with the players. Obviously not an easy situation with how many new faces we've had and the lack of experience, but really happy with where the team is and how it's coming. And, you know, anytime I get to, like you said, kind of reverse it and put the head coach hat on and take off the GM, it's it's nice because the team's prepared and ready to go. And I know I don't have to babysit these guys and hold their hands. We work really well as a staff together. I think we communicate well together. And while we might not always agree, I think we have a good plan going forward, and our team's always ready to play.
Well, I know it's a shocker, but one lesson that the players certainly have learned this year is how to persevere and just roll with the punches. And they'll do so again this weekend. It'll be Friday at 7:30, Sunday at 8:30. That's a bit of a change. And both games will be down at Ice World in Abington, Maryland, just outside of Baltimore. And you can catch all the games on Hockey TV. Craig, thanks so much for taking the time, and best of luck this weekend.
Thanks, Tommy. I appreciate it, and hopefully see you soon.
Fans, thanks for joining me this week on the New Jersey Titans Coaches Corner. I'm Tom Willms, and we'll see you real soon.